Man, ain't no telling where I'll be.
Mr. Wilson with a number.
Can't nobody tell me nothing different. The Father's been good to me.
So good to me.
Yeah. Wave your hands if you feel me. I'm a witness. Yahweh's been good to me.
So good to me.
Every morning that I rise, I thank Yahweh that I'm living. Keep my enemies at bay and never leave without my fringes. 1611 with me cause I'm on a mission. Talking sheep, I pay the cost, me and my lines really live it. I don't need no glory, you don't have to know my story. Glad I made it out this world cause this world was
Mic check, Shabbat Shalom, Israel. We back at it again with another segment of sound doctrine, right? We almost done. We almost done with the feast days. It shouldn't be no more questions as to why it is you do what you do when it comes to serving the Lord. And it's funny because, like, usually at work, as you taking these days off, a lot of times your coworkers be like, "Oh, like, you know, you took another day. Like, what do you do on this day? What's going on?" Now you got classes you can send them. Oh, this was, you know, trumpets or Rosh Hashanah. This is what we did. Oh, this is the destruction of Nicanor. Oh, this is tabernacles. Oh, there's no reason why you can't inform any individual of what it is you do. And Lord's will, it sparks a conversation, especially if they are Israel, to begin to inquire so you can, Lord's will, even save a soul, right? So we're going to get straight into it. Tonight is the penultimate, which means the before the last, the penultimate lesson on these feast days, Nicanor. Next week we'll have Purim. So the destruction of Nicanor. And I actually just learned some people that actually don't even celebrate it, they haven't heard of it or they don't know much about it. Get to know your history. Get to know the information. Get to know why you do what it is that you do. Get to know the holy convocations that our forefathers set up to commemorate and remember the Lord and the things that he did. Why not? Right? Let's jump straight into it. Let's go to the book of, here we go, First Maccabees, right? Let's go to the book of First Maccabees. If you haven't yet, go ahead, hit that subscribe button. Go ahead and share the content. Again, this is your daily bread. This is all foundational stuff, you know. And Lord's will, this can help continue to edify and strengthen the foundation and the understanding of the people, right? Like I said all the time, all of these deep breakdowns and all of this stuff, but we don't have knowledge of the basics. This is the basics that we should more than want. These are the basics that we should need. If you got this information, this is your foundation, and upon this you can build everything else, right? So feast days being one of those things. The book of First Maccabees, let's start at chapter 7. We're going to be doing a decent amount of reading today because Nicanor is just that. It's a story. And you have to read the entire story to understand what was going on. So we're going to, take some breaks here and there, but we're going to be doing some reading today, right? So the book of First Maccabees, chapter 7, and we're going to start at verse 1.
Check. This is the first book of Maccabees, chapter 7, and verse 1. In the 150th year, Demetrius, the son of Seleucus, departed from Rome, and came up with a few men unto a city of the sea coast, and reigned there. And as he entered into the palace of his ancestors, so it was that his forces had taken Antiochus and Lysias to bring them unto him. Wherefore, when he knew it, he said, let me not see their faces. So his host slew them. Now, when Demetrius was set up.
Now, real quick, this is a whole complex history in itself, right? It said, and he entered into the palace of his ancestors, so it was that the forces had taken Antiochus and Lysias. If you don't know the history, you'll be like, well, I thought Antiochus died when they were going to war with Judas and them. I thought Antiochus died before this. He did, right? This is a different Antiochus. So you had different Demetriuses, you had different Antiochuses. You did have one Lysias, though, right? So this was Demetrius, I believe, the first. And him and Antiochus were actually back and forth fighting for the throne in this particular time. So at this time, Antiochus was taken and put in jail, put in prison. Demetrius was now the ruler. And then I believe it's Antiochus that ends up taking the throne again, or it was Demetrius that had two reigns. It was one of them that had two reigns, right? So this Antiochus, which is not Antiochus Epiphanes, right? Antiochus is nothing more than a title. So Demetrius took the throne. Antiochus and Lysias were taken captives and brought to Demetrius. Verse 5.
Verse 5. There came unto him all the wicked and ungodly men of Israel, having Alchemus, who was desirous to be high priest for their captain.
So it says all the wicked individuals of Israel. Now, of course, you got to read all the way up through this, right? There were battles that had went on. There were a number of times people were willing to die rather to die than to sin. There was a battle between the righteous of Israel trying to maintain the integrity of the law, and the wicked who were just like, man, we trying to just live it up. We tired of fighting with the Greeks. They keep beating us up. If we just go ahead and go with the flow, they gonna love us. And then some of them saw like, oh, they kind of like how we look at it today. Like, man, y'all doing too much, bro. Man, that's why y'all wish y'all could live it up like this, man. Y'all wish y'all could be in the clubs. Y'all wish y'all could. They began to fall in love with wickedness. So now the wicked pulled up on the king, and Alchemist, who was a Levite, but a wicked one who was desiring to be high priest, they all came to the king. Go ahead.
Verse 6, and they accused the people to the king, saying, Judas and his brethren have slain all thy friends.
So now they went to the king and they made up a whole lie. Judas and his brothers and all of the ones that ran up out of here with Mattathias and all of them, the Maccabees, they killed all your friends, bro. King, they killed everyone that was following the order that you put out. They killed everyone who was obeying you in the name of their God, right? Read.
And driven us out of our own land.
And they even ran us out. And I'm a Levite. They ran us out, right? Read.
Now therefore, send some man whom thou trustest, and let him go and see what havoc he have made among us, and in the king's land, and let him punish them with all them that aid them.
It said, so king, please go, because here was the thing, right? The Maccabees were Levites. They had priests that were already there. They had already rededicated the temple. Alchemist wanted to be the high priest, so he said, you know what I'm gonna do? I know Judas and them ain't gonna let me do that. I'm finna get rid of them. So he decided, yeah, I'm finna try to go ahead and get rid of them. Let me make up this lie, get them to take, because that's the king. He got a way bigger army than Judas and them. Destroy all of them so I can step in and become the high priest, right? Now, the crazy part is basically he was saying, let me step in and get me some power and some authority. Let me get it the dirty way, but let me get some power and some authority because I ain't got no juice as long as Judas and them here. It's very similar to how some of these cats move today. So he said, let me go ahead and move like a viper. Let me lie on these men who ain't done nothing wrong. The same God that I'm supposed to be worshiping, let me go ahead and violate those laws so that way I can get them killed, so that way I can step in and have all the juice. Because the high priest was the ones that everyone had to go to because they were the mediator between the Most High and the men, right? So there was a level of influence that they had. Alchemist was thirsty for that. And he couldn't get it with Judas and them there. So he said, let me go ahead and lie. Let me go ahead and get them destroyed. King, go destroy them because look at everything they're doing. So he sent someone, read.
Then the king chose Bacchides, a friend of the king, who ruled beyond the flood and was a great man in the kingdom.
Beyond the flood, I believe, was referencing beyond the Euphrates because when you read about this history, a lot of even Nicanor, he was a Syro-Grecian, right? So he was near Syria. The Euphrates and everything is near Syria. So he was over the flood, meaning he was over the waters, right? So it says he chose Bacchides, a friend of the king who ruled on the other side of the flood or the waters, right? Read.
And faithful to the king.
And he was faithful. He knew. He said, I know I could, if I could trust anybody to go over there and tear something up, it'll be Bacchides, right? Read.
And him he sent with that wicked Alcimus.
With that wicked, man, bro, imagine if your reputation in the most popular book, the record of your people, you was known as that wicked, and I think it even calls him like disgusting, or it's another word that they use as well. As we read on, we'll find it. But imagine if that was your reputation, like you was a piece of doo-doo. That was Alchemist. So Bacchides got sent over with that wicked Alchemist, read.
Whom he made high priest.
Who he made high priest, read.
And commanded that he should take vengeance of the children of Israel.
And he commanded, Demetrius told Bacchides, go over there and destroy these men. Demetrius was the one that made Alchemist the high priest. Demetrius was the one that sent Bacchides to go over there and wreak havoc, right? Read.
So they departed and came with a great power into the land of Judea.
Right.
Where they sent messengers to Judas and his brethren with peaceable words.
So Bacchides went over there. I'm sorry, read on. Finish that.
With peaceable words, deceitfully.
So Bacchides went over there. They said, man, we ain't trying to fight them when they ready. Let's go ahead and get their guard down first, right? Read.
But they gave no heed to their words, for they saw that they were come with a great power.
Judas said, nigga, you must think we stupid. You coming with peaceful words. Them niggas got arrows ready to shoot. You came with horses and elephants and what you call unicorns, rhinos. You came with all of these, but you coming for peace? Come on, bro. We ain't stupid. Right, read.
Then did there assemble unto Alcimus and Bacchides a company of scribes to require justice.
Right? So there was a company of scribes, which were pretty much the leaders, the officers, the governors, the chief men, or the quote unquote princes, the captains. These were those that were what you would call the leaders, right, at that time. Read.
Now the Assyrians were the first among the children of Israel that sought peace of them.
Right?
For said they, one that is a priest of the seed of Aaron is come with this army, and he will do us no wrong.
So they knew Alchemist was a priest. He ain't gonna do us wrong. He righteous. He's one of the sons of Aaron. His job is to lead the people in righteousness. He would never read.
So he spake unto them peaceably,
So Alchemist spoke to the Assyrians peaceably, right? Read.
and swear unto them, saying, we will procure in the harm neither of you nor your friends.
Man, we ain't coming here to hurt y'all. God is my witness. We would never. Read.
Whereupon they believed him, howbeit he took of them 60 men, and slew them in one day,
Read.
according to the words which he wrote.
So he lied to these leaders. He took 60 of them and killed them. Read.
The flesh of thy saints have they cast out, and their blood have they shed round about Jerusalem. And there was none to bury them. Wherefore the fear and the dread of them fell upon all the people, who said, there is neither truth nor righteousness in them.
Read.
For they have broken the covenant and oath that they made.
So we're going to read First Maccabees and Second Maccabees because there's a little backstory to this, right? So Demetrius sent Alchemist and Bacchides. They came deceitfully peaceful. We ain't going to hurt you guys. Then they end up slaying 60 of the leaders. And they said, the flesh of the saints they have cast out, quoting from Psalms, right? Psalms, I think, 79, right? It says, wherefore the fear and dread fell upon the people that were in Israel at the time in Jerusalem. They said, there is no truth nor righteousness in them. Talking about alchemists and those the Greek army. There's no truth or righteousness in them because they broke an oath. We'll get that oath in a little bit, right? Verse 19.
After this removed Bacchides from Jerusalem.
After he slew them, he left Jerusalem, read.
And pitched tents in Bezeth, where he sent and took many of the men that had forsaken him, and certain of the people also. And when he had slain them, he cast them into the great pit.
So then he went out and he ended up slaying some of his men, right? Verse 20.
Then committed he the country to Alcimus, and left him a power to aid him. So Bacchides went to the king.
So he slew everyone who he felt was a traitor. He said, Alchemist, you in charge now. I'm going to leave you some men. If people get out of line, you know what to do. I'm going back to Demetrius, right? Read.
Verse 21, but Alcimus contended for the high priesthood.
But he was like, man, look, he left me the ruler, but hell no, I want to be the priest. Read.
And unto him resorted all such as trouble the people, who, after they had gotten the land of Judah into their power, did much hurt in Israel.
It says when they got the power in Judea, it says that they created many problems, many conflicts in Israel, right? Read.
Now when Judah saw all the mischief that Alcimus and his company had done among the Israelites, even above the heathen,
he said, that's some stuff. He said, Alchemist did worse to Israel than the heathen was doing. Alchemist was that low down, dirty, and disgusting. And that's why when we all Israel, it's all love. We all Israelites. Israel will do you worse than the heathen. Israel will do you worse than the other nations. During this time when we were being Hellenized, the other nations was doing Israel greasy. It said Alchemist did worse than them. And he was of our people. Not only was he of our people, he was a priest, or the lineage of the priest. If you go and you read Leviticus, you see the very specific stipulations to the priests specifically. Israel had laws. Levites had laws, but priests had laws. Very specific. So he was of a special group of the special people. Israel was the special people. Levites were the special group of the special peoples. The priests were the special group of the Levites, which was the special group of Israel, which was the special group of the world to the Lord. That's how special he was supposed to be. And he was more foul than the other nations. That's wild. Just think about that. That's foul. Read on.
Verse 24, he went out into all the coast of Judea round about and took vengeance of them that had revolted from him,
Right.
so that they durst no more go forth into the country.
Uh-huh.
On the other side, when Alcimus saw that Judas and his company had gotten the upper hand and knew that he was not able to abide their force, he went again to the king and said all the worst of them that he could.
This nigga is foul. Those that he felt turned his back on them, it said, he went out into all the coast of Judea round about and took vengeance of them that revolted. So anyone that wasn't trying to get with what Alchemist was getting down with, he took vengeance. So then Judas, everybody ran to Judas. They said, shoot, he's the savior. He been whooping these Greeks. Alchemist was like, oh, we can't beat him. Not with this little group. I'm running back to the king, and I'm about to make up the worst lie humanly possible, so the king can be so pissed off. He's sending everything, including the kitchen sink. He gonna send everything. Read.
Said it's Nicanor, right?
Nicanor, yep.
Verse 26. Then the king sent Nicanor.
Then the king sent Nicanor. This is the one who we are talking about. Read.
One of his honorable prince.
One of the top generals. One of the top captains. That's what a prince is. It's a leader. It's a captain. It's the leader of a military. Right? Read.
A man that bare deadly hate unto Israel.
A man that bare deadly hate against Israel. But we're missing a whole backstory, which we'll get to soon. Right? A man that bare deadly hate to Israel. He hated him more than who was it first? Abacades. He hated them more than Alchemists. He said he had a deadly hatred to Israel, right? Read.
With commandment to destroy the people.
He said, I'm gonna take the one who got the worst hatred, the one that got more to lose and needs to destroy them. I'm gonna get him to do it. Read.
So Nicanor came to Jerusalem with a great force and sent unto Judas and his brethren deceitfully with friendly words, saying, let there be no battle between me and you. I will come with a few men that I may see you in peace.
There's a reason why he was even able to do that, because think about it. He had a deadly hatred. Why would Judas even think to entertain that? I'm gonna show you something. We're gonna start this whole story over in a little bit. But there's a reason we got to start this whole story over, right? So it says, Nicanor went to them and said, let's not fight. It's going to be me and a few others. I just want to come holler at you, Judas, right? Read.
Verse 29, he came therefore to Judas, and they saluted one another peaceably.
Now, here's the question. If Judas knew where Alchemists went, if Judas knew who Nicanor was, why was he falling for this? Or not even why did he even entertain this, right? We're going to talk about it. Read.
Howbeit the enemies were prepared to take away Judas by violence.
He had people in the cut waiting. Read.
Which thing after it was known to Judas, to wit, that he came unto him with deceit. He was sore afraid of him and would see his face no more.
He said, oh, okay. I can't rock with you after that. You try. Oh, nah. He almost got me. We almost got destroyed. I got to play it wise now. He said, we not meeting up no more. That's it. That was it. That was the last straw, right? Read.
Nicanor also, when he saw that his counsel was discovered, went out to fight against Judas. Beside, Kafar Salamah, where there were slain of Nicanor's side about 5,000 men, and the rest fled into the city of David.
So he ended up getting into a battle with Judas, and like clockwork, he got whooped, right? Now, we're going to kind of start the story over a little bit. Let's go to 2 Maccabees 14. 2 Maccabees 14. This one actually hones in more directly on Nicanor, right? Start at verse 1.
This is the second book of Maccabees, chapter 14, and verse 1.
Read.
After 3 years was Judas informed that Demetrius, the son of Seleucus, having entered by the haven of Tripolis with a great power and navy.
Right? It says Judas was informed that Demetrius, the son of Seleucus, had entered in, right? Read.
Had taken the country and killed Antiochus and Lysias, his protector.
Right. So again, Antiochus and Lysias were killed by Demetrius, right? Read.
Now one, Alcimus, who had been high priest and had defiled himself willfully.
That's wild. The high priest who defiled himself willfully. This is a foul individual. Come on.
In the times of their mingling with the Gentiles.
And then, real quick, I won't stay here. This is who Alchemist was. I want to show you something real quick. Watch this. This was said early on, right? This is when it was set. First Maccabees chapter 1 and verse 11, it says, in those days went there out of Israel wicked men who persuaded many, saying, let us go and make a covenant with the heathen that are round about us, for since we have departed from them, we have had much sorrow. So this device pleased them well. Then certain of the people were so forward herein that they went to the king, who gave them license to do after the ordinances of the heathen. Whereupon they built places of exercise at Jerusalem according to the customs of the heathen, and they made themselves uncircumcised and forsook the covenant, the holy covenant, and joined themselves to the heathen, and were sold to do mischief. That was the group that Alchemist was a part of. Let's just turn our backs on God completely. Let's just do what the heathen do. Matter of fact, let's double down and do more than what the heathen do. It said Alchemist was so wicked, he did worse to Israel than the heathen were doing to Israel. That's the type of nigga you was dealing with. Read on.
And had defiled himself willfully in the times of their mingling with the Gentiles, seeing that by no means he could save himself, nor have any more access to the holy altar.
So it said he couldn't. His spirit was done. He said he couldn't save himself anymore. Lord was done with him. Done with him. It said, and he didn't have access to the altar anymore. He was a high priest. He was the one that literally would be there to make the sacrifices. He did so wickedly, it said he couldn't save himself. Now, why does it say that? Because when the priest sin, what happens? In Leviticus. When the priest sin in ignorance, what happens? In ignorance. Who remembers? We went over it in disciples class. If the priest sin in ignorance, what? What did he have to do?
Bring an animal sacrifice.
He had to. Who brought it though?
The priest would bring it.
Who sacrificed it?
The priest.
When the priest messed up. So when the priest messed up, the priest would bring the sacrifice. The priest would put the blood on the altar. The priest would do that. It said he was so froward and evil and did so much wrong, he couldn't even do that. Because why? The sacrifice was to reconcile him back to God. If he sinned in ignorance. It said he was willfully wicked. He couldn't even save himself anymore. Reason why it says it that way is because the elders would save all of Israel by making the sacrifice. The common man would kill it, but the priest would save the common man because he would put it on the altar, and the priest would sacrifice for himself. He would save himself through the sacrifice. He couldn't do that. He was so done, he couldn't make no more sacrifices. The Lord said, you done completely. That's how wicked Alchemist was. He got kicked from the altar. They said, nigga, you can't be here. That's why he ran in 1 Maccabees 7. He went back to the king to say, I want to be high priest. And King Demetrius said, cool. But the Levites wasn't having that. Read on.
Verse 4, came to King Demetrius in the 150th year, presenting unto him a crown of gold and a palm, and also of the bowls which were used solemnly in the temple.
Damn. He took the holy things of the temple and gave it to this Greek bastard. To persuade him. Because then he turned around and he acted more than a sellout. Because then he doubled down and he brought this to him. He said, hey, what mean these things, Alchemist? What do you need? Judas is trying to kill all your friends. What? And by the way, can I be high priest? You can't make this up. These niggas is evil. The evil of Israel was evil for real. The evil of Israel was evil. Read on.
And so that day he held his peace. Howbeit, having gotten opportunity to further his foolish enterprise,
he said, I just want to bring you something real quick. And he just backed off of it after that. He's like, I'm going to buy my time. The king rocking with me. He like what I gave him. I gave him of the holy things. Said he bought his time because he had an agenda for his foolish enterprise. Read.
and being called into council by Demetrius, and asked how the Jews stood affected and what they intended, he answered thereunto.
So now he's in the good graces with the king. The king was like, all right, let me, you know what? Let me inquire of his people. Let me see what they own. Let me holler at them real quick. He said to me, Alchemist, chop it up with you real quick. He said, yes, my lord. How the Jews, how Israel feel about, the whole taking over and polluting their temple and, making them abide in the way of the one world order. How are they feeling about that? Read.
Those of the Jews that be called Assyrians, whose captain is Judas Maccabeus, nourish war and are seditious and will not let the realm be in peace.
He said, well, Israel's, we're cool, like we're liking it, we were just sacrificing to Zeus yesterday, I picked out some swine's flesh and a couple of mice, but there's this group, and oh my God, they grind my gears. We're trying to live in peace, and we're trying to be subject to your rules, but these guys they're not allowing us to live in peace. Every time we try to do what you have us to do, they want to fight us. And they want to try to kill us. And as a matter of fact, they're traitors to you. They're seditious. They're rebellious. And you know how dangerous that can be when you're rebellious to the throne. They're trying to get other people to do the same thing. I'm just the messenger, but we're really tired of them. And we need you, King, to do something about them, because we can't live in peace as long as they're doing these things, and we would love the New World Order. But these divergents, these rebellious, seditious people won't allow us to live in peace, King. This is the story that he's giving to Demetrius. Read on.
Therefore I, being deprived of my ancestors' honor, I mean the high priesthood, am now come hither.
He said, and they kicked me out of the. Do you know my father, my great father, grandfather, my ancestor was Aaron, and they have the nerve to kick me out. They kicked me out. I was a high priest, and they kicked me out. You know that, king? So they're seditious against you. They won't let us live in peace, and they kicked me out. That's the last straw. Read on.
Verse 8, first, verily, for the unfeigned care I have of things pertaining to the king.
He said, and everything that I'm saying right now is legit. My love and my care for you is not feigned. It's not fake. It's not a lie. It's real. I swear. Read.
And secondly, even for that I intend the good of my own countrymen. For all our nation is in no small misery through the unadvised dealing of them aforesaid.
It said, and we are all going through it right now. These wicked priests kicked me out. They're not allowing us to worship Zeus and Hercules and the Greek gods because we want to take on the Greek ways and we want to be like the king. They're making us do the things of our ancestors, and they're trying to harm us and kill us for not following the king's ways. And we are in misery because of it. We're in misery because of it. They're so evil that we're in misery. Now, mind you, Judas is making the people worship the Lord according to the Torah. And this raggedy, no good piece of trash high priest is trying to force the king's hand in destroying Judas so they can continue in sin. And this is an Israelite. And it said he did worse to Israel than the heathen were doing to Israel. Read on.
Wherefore, O king, seeing thou knowest all these things, be careful for the country and our nation, which is pressed on every side, according to the clemency that thou readily sheweth unto all.
It says that seeing that you know all things, be very careful. Please focus on us. Pay attention to what I'm telling you. For our country and our nation, because we are pressed. Judas and them is oppressing us, trying to make us worship this Yahweh. We want to worship Zeus. We want to make an Olympus. But he won't let us. He's oppressing us. Help us, King. Read.
For as long as Judas liveth, it is not possible that the state should be quiet.
As long as Judas lives, we will not live in peace because he won't let us be wicked. Read.
This was no sooner spoken of him, but others of the king's friends, being maliciously set against Judas, did more incense.
Everybody else was talking about this too, and it said it just pissed the king off even more. He was more incensed, meaning he was more lit. He got more and more pissed. He heard alchemists, and he heard everybody. He like, these motherfuckers. Send the troops. Read.
Demetrius, and forthwith calling Nicanor, who had been master of the elephants, and making him governor over Judea, he sent him forth.
So Nicanor was the person in charge over Judea at the time. He had made him the ruler over there, right? And he was the master of the elephants, meaning that was his. It's like kind of like if you got the man that was that man over the machine guns, or the man that you knew you could count on with the tank. That was his thing. He was the master of the elephants. He was the one that led the charge of all of the men that were on the elephants, right? Read.
Commanding him to slay Judas and to scatter
Commending him. Go kill this nigga. You hear what they said? He disrespected him, his mama, his daddy. His dad was probably dead at this time. His brothers, his cousins, and anybody riding with him. Kill these niggas. Nicanor, get rid of this problem immediately. Nicanor, fix this now. Read.
and to scatter them that were with him, and to make Alcimus high priest of the great temple.
So again, now then he's trying to put alchemists into the temple. Read.
Then the heathen that had fled out of Judea from Judas came to Nicanor.
So Judas kicked some heathens out. If you read a little earlier, there was a few different times that happened. But Judas kicked some of the heathens out, and they said, well, we going to Nicanor, because Nicanor was the governor. They knew Nicanor was the governor. We're going to go over here. Read.
By flocks, thinking...
It said they came in flocks. They came in dozens. They came by the 20s. They came by the pounds. Right? Read.
Thinking the harm and calamities of the Jews to be their welfare.
It says, oh, if we run to Nicanor and we tell Nicanor he's going to destroy them, that's going to be our welfare. We get to benefit from that. Read.
Now when the Jews heard of Nicanor's coming and that the heathen were up against them, they cast earth upon their heads.
So they knew, so this is my point. They knew Nicanor was coming, and they knew they were probably about to get abused, right? Read.
And made supplication to him that had established his people forever, and who always helpeth his portion with manifestation of his presence.
Talking about the Lord, right? Read.
So at the commandment of the captain, they removed straight ways from thence, and came near unto them at the town of the Sioux.
Right. It says so they all so they prayed to the Lord. They put ashes upon their head as a sign of afflicting their souls and humbling themselves down to the Lord. And the captain said, "All right, we finna leave. We got to go to the Sioux." Right. Read.
Now Simon,
The counselor. Read.
Judas's brother,
Read.
had joined battle with Nicanor.
So Simon ran the fade with Nicanor. They said, "Judas, we need help." Judas said, "Simon, they want smoke." Simon said, "Cool, say less, I got you." Simon, Judas, Jonathan, all of them were the leaders of this revolt, right? Simon being the counselor of all, right? So he said, let's dance. Read.
But was somewhat discomfited through the sudden silence of his enemies. Nevertheless, Nicanor, hearing of the manliness of them that were with Judas and the courageousness that they had to fight for their country, durst not try the matter by the sword.
So Simon ran a fade with Nicanor, and he was somewhat discomfited through their sudden silence of the enemy. So he was confused, like, oh, they not trying to fight now. Then it says, and Nicanor realized, oh, these niggas is crazy. It's kind of like, you see that one guy who's always trying to run it with somebody, and you run into that one person that really don't care, and you like, I probably can beat him, but at what cost? Because he looks like he's ready to die. He looks like he's going to really put, is this worth it right now? Because he don't look like he got much to lose. Right, he got on them black forces and the do-rag that's ripped right here at the top. The ashy do-rag. And his black forces, he choke him. No, so he got the black forces with the creases in them, and they choked at the top, the big bunny ear shoestrings. Yeah, nah. Yeah, we go. we gonna just let this one go. Right? He pissed off right now. We're gonna let this one go. Right? That's what Nicanor said. You know what? Let's regroup. Let's go ahead and regroup. This is what we're gonna do. Right? Read on.
Wherefore he sent Posidonius and Theodotus and Matthias to make peace.
Right? So Nicanor said, you know what? Hey, do me a favor. Do me this favor real quick. Y'all go down there as a sign of peace. We ain't going to come down there with you. It's just going to be you three. Y'all go speak peace with Judas because this nigga kind of crazy. And if we go down there, he probably gonna jump straight to it. And we ain't trying to have no war with them. Because I'm pretty sure we can win, but we're going to take a big loss. So let's go ahead and let's back off a little bit. Y'all go down there and make peace. Right, Reed?
So when they had taken long advisement thereupon, and the captain had made the multitude acquainted therewith, and it appeared that they were all of one mind, they consented to the covenant.
They consented to the covenant. So remember we read earlier in 1 Maccabees 7, they break the covenant. What covenant were they talking about? Judas and Nicanor made an agreement. So when you read 1 Maccabees 7, it's a summary and it speeds through some of the information. 2 Maccabees 14 gives you more detail. So alchemists went to the king. The king sends Nicanor. Nicanor was ready for it to go up. He saw that Judas was like, I ain't got nothing to lose. What you trying to do? He said, you know what? We might lose a lot of people, and I'm not willing to risk that. So y'all go ahead and make peace. They went down there, they made peace with the captains, and there was a covenant, an agreement that was established. Later on, we read in 1 Maccabees 7, that agreement was broken. Right? Read on.
Verse 21, and appointed a day to meet and together by themselves. And when the day came, and stools were set for either of them, Judas placed armed men ready in convenient places, lest some treachery should be suddenly practiced by the enemies. So they made a peaceable conference.
So he didn't trust Nicanor. He like, I don't trust it. Y'all stay over here, and if something goes left, and I need y'all to, you already know, you bounce out. If anything go down, you bounce out, and you Swiss cheese everything. But it ended up being a peaceful conference. They met, they convened, it was peaceful, the agreement was made. Read.
Now Nicanor abode in Jerusalem.
Nicanor stayed over there in Jerusalem. Remember, he was the governor of it anyways, right? So he stayed out there in Jerusalem, right? Read.
And did no hurt, but sent away the people that came flocking unto him.
So everyone that was coming to him, that was like, but what about Judas? But he said, go. I ain't trying to hear that. We made an agreement. Shut up. Go. Read.
And he would not willingly have Judas out of his sight.
He kept Judas right next to him. Right? Read.
For he loved the man from his heart.
He said, you know what? This is a good brother. So we read over in 1 Maccabees 7, everything is fast forwarded. You like, what happened? Now we're getting the backstory now. Nicanor was sent to Jerusalem. Nicanor was about to go tear some things up. Nicanor realized, I would probably lose a lot of men, even though we may win. It's not worth the loss. Let's go down here and try to figure something out. He realized Judas was a good man. And he said, that's a good brother. And he began to grow affinity toward Judas. He began to grow some love toward Judas, right? Read.
Verse 25. He prayed him also to take a wife.
So he told Judas, man, get you a wife, bro. He begged Judas, like, man, start a family, bro. You a good man, man. Get you a wife, so on and so forth, right? Read.
And to beget children.
Have you some children, read.
So he married, was quiet, and took part of this life.
So Judas ended up marrying. Didn't say he had kids, but he married, read.
But Alcimus, perceiving the love that was betwixt them.
He saw, like, wait a minute. That's not supposed to happen. What's going on? Wait, Nicanor. That's not what Demetrius said to do. Hey, you messing up my priesthood. I'm telling. Read.
And considering the covenants
and considering the agreements, read,
that were made, came to Demetrius.
That nigga went and told. He done snitched. Read.
And told him that Nicanor was not well affected toward the state.
He said, King, he doesn't respect you. He's going to turn on you, King. He doesn't have the best interest, your best interest in mind, King. He's making friends with Judas. Remember the guy I told you about that is against you? He's making friends with the enemy. He's seditious. He's the rebel. He's the traitor. And Nicanor is now friends with him. Demetrius, you have to do something. Read.
For he that had ordained Judas a traitor to his realm to be the king's successor. Then the king.
Oh, then he did. He's so cold. He said, Nicanor promised to Judas, who is against you, that he will reign as king after you. Alchemist is just a lying piece of doo-doo. This is the type of, and it's crazy because Alchemist is the name of a priest. There was another priest. He was actually a righteous one, but it's someone who named themselves after a priest recently that lied just as much as Alchemist. Crazy. But that's what Israel would do. Read on.
Verse 27. Then the king, being in a rage.
Now the king was hot. He done got under the king's skin. He pissed. Nigga, what? He did what? Read.
And provoked with the accusations of the most wicked man, wrote to Nicanor.
And wait, through all of this, the scripture said he got provoked with the accusations of the most wicked man. He said Alchemist was the worst piece of garbage in that time. That was talking about Alchemist, you piece of trash. They said he was so pissed off. What did he do?
Signifying that he was much displeased with the covenant.
He said, nigga, you made a covenant, you made an agreement, you made a contract with them. I told you to go destroy them, and you over there making deals? Nicanor, you have disappointed me. Nicanor, you have upset me. Nicanor, you have enraged me. Read on.
And commanding him that he should send Maccabeus prisoner in all haste unto Antiochus. Antioch.
He said, you better get Judas and you better lock him up immediately. Verse 28.
When this came to Nicanor's hearing, he was much confounded in himself.
He didn't know what to do. He said, dang, I can't forsake the king, but I ain't got no reason to lock up Judas. Read.
And took it grievously that he should make void the articles which were agreed upon, the man being in no fault.
He said, I have no reason to break this contract, but the king told me I better. Read.
But because there was no dealing against the king, he watched his time to accomplish this thing by policy. Notwithstanding.
So he said, I can't go against the king, but I ain't trying to go at it with Judas. I gotta wait to see if he breaks the contract. That was the rule that we put in place. I gotta see, right? Read.
Notwithstanding, when Maccabeus saw that Nicanor began to be churlish unto him.
So Nicanor now began to try to make Judas break the contract. He was dealing foolishly and evil with Judas now at this point because he had to. Read.
And that he entreated him more roughly than he was wont.
Right.
Perceiving that such sour behavior came not of good. He gathered together not a few of his men and withdrew himself from Nicanor.
He went and he spoke to his men. He said, look, Nicanor looked like he going bad on us, bro. We might as well leave before he tried to do a sneak attack and get rid of us. He took all of his men, all of his soldiers, all of his army and said, yeah, let's just, we're going to go over here. We're going to figure something out. Right? Read.
Verse 31, but the other, knowing that he was noticeably prevented by Judas' policy, came into the great and holy temple and commanded the priests that were offering their usual sacrifices to deliver him, the man.
It says, but the other, knowing that he was notably prevented by Judas's policy, came into the great and holy temple and commanded the priests that were offering their usual sacrifices to deliver him, it was either Nicanor or Alchemist, to deliver them Judas, right? So they're like, where the hell did Judas go? Bring him to us, right? And what did the priest say?
And when they swear that they could not tell where the man was whom he sought, he stretched out his right hand toward the temple and made an oath in this manner. If ye will not deliver me Judas.
Oh, so it was Nicanor. So Nicanor's pissed off now. He said, if you priests don't bring me Nicanor, read.
As a prisoner, I will lay this temple of God even with the ground, and I will break down the altar and erect a notable temple unto Bacchus.
It says, if you don't bring me Judas, I'm going to tear your temple down and destroy it, make it level to the ground, make it desolate, and I'm going to create a temple to our God Bacchus. Bring me Judas, or you won't have a temple anymore. Read on.
After these words, he departed. Then
After that, he slid up out of there, right? So he left. Now, let's drop down just a couple of verses. So he ended up leaving. Everybody's stressed out. Everybody's scared, right? Drop down to verse 37.
37. Now was there accused unto Nicanor.
So now Nicanor gets word of this individual. Read.
To Nicanor, one raises one of the elders of Jerusalem, a lover of his countrymen, and a man of very good report, who for his kindness was called a father of the Jews.
It says this particular man was reported to Nicanor, right? Read.
For in the former times, when they mingled not themselves with the Gentiles.
For in the former times when they wasn't dealing with the Gentiles at all, read.
He had been accused of Judaism, and did boldly jeopard his body and life with all his vehemency for the religion of the Jews.
So back when they were not being Hellenized, when they were fighting for righteousness, it says he was accused during the time when everyone was going through the Hellenization process and you had to become Greek and you had to do the things that are Greeks. He said he was accused of Judaism, right? What is that? He was accused of keeping Torah. He was accused of keeping the law. He was accused of circumcising, honoring the Sabbath day, sacrificing to the Lord. They said, and he had a good report, so they knew he was a law keeper. And this was before they really started getting into, they're making it so difficult for us. Let's just link up with them. When that began to happen, Raisus was like, hell no. I'm still going to keep the law. So they went and snitched on him for keeping the law. They went and brought him to the governor because he was keeping the Torah and circumcision and the Sabbath and calling himself a Jew with all vehemency. Meaning he was enthused. There's another word. Zealous. Zealously he was keeping these laws, right? Read.
So Nicanor, willing to declare the hate that he bare unto the Jews, sent above 500 men of war to take him.
Now remember, he just got in trouble by Demetrius. Now he has to prove, I haven't traded against you, king. And he had to prove his hatred toward the Jews by taking this most well-respected elder captive. Read.
For he thought by taking him to do the Jews much hurt. Now when the multitude would have taken the tower and violently broken into the outer door and bade that fire should be brought to burn it, he being ready to be taken on every side, fell upon his sword.
So he was in the tower. They were trying to break in, those 60 men, to take him. He said, y'all not finna take me and abuse me and force me to eat swine's flesh and do all of this foul stuff to me. He tried to kill himself. He said, I'd take my own life before I let y'all come in and abuse me and violate me, right? Read.
Choosing rather to die manfully than to come into the hands of the wicked.
Right.
To be abused otherwise.
To be abused, right? Read.
Then beseemed his noble birth.
Then he said, y'all not finna do me like that. I'd rather go out like a man. You're not finna have me living on my knees. I'm not bowing to the king. I'd rather die. Read.
But missing his stroke through haste.
He tried to hurry up and end it, and he missed the artery. Read.
The multitude also rushing within the doors. He ran boldly up to the wall and cast himself down manfully among the thickest of them.
He jumped off the tower and landed on them. He said, I'm going to take a couple of y'all out. Read.
But they quickly giving back, and a space being made, he fell down into the midst of the void place.
So he, damn. That's so cold. He said, to hell with it. I'm finna kill a couple of y'all because y'all try to get me. They all said, oh. And he missed. And he fell on the ground. You ever watched a concert and I forgot whose it was. It was on YouTube way back when, like in the early days of YouTube. Dude jumped and they all moved out the way. Trying to crowd surf and they moved. He jumped into a void spot. That's what just happened with racists, right? Read.
Nevertheless, while there was yet breath within him, being inflamed with anger, he rose up, and though his blood gushed out like spouts of water, and his wounds were grievous.
He was toe up and he still got up. This man was different. Read.
Yet he ran through the midst of the throng, and standing upon a steep rock, when as his blood was now quite gone, he plucked out his bowels, and taking them in both his hands, he cast them upon the throng, and calling upon the Lord of life and spirit to restore him those again, he thus died.
This man jumped off the tower with a sword in his body, missed the mosh pit, got up and still ran. They was probably like, yo, this nigga might be crazy. Everybody was like, yeah, hold on, wait, what is he doing? What is he doing? Then it said he ran over to a rock, and that sword had opened him up already. He said he took out his bowels and just laid it there and said, Lord, I pray that you restore me again. Right before he died. He said, I refuse to be taken by these devils. Right? Chapter 15, we're going to start at verse 1.
Chapter 15, verse 1. But Nicanor, hearing that Judas and his company were in the strong places about Samaria, resolved without any danger to set upon them on the Sabbath day.
Now, why would he try to do that? What did he know, Malachi? Nicanor was trying to set up a battle with them on the Sabbath. Why? We have it, and early on in Maccabees, people died rather than to fight on the Sabbath. And Mattathias was the one that kind of put it out there, like, if we don't fight, there will be no more Israel. But Nicanor understood how sacred the Sabbath was. I think we can get them on the Sabbath day. They probably ain't going to try to fight us, right? Read.
Nevertheless, the Jews that were compelled to go with him said, O destroy, not so cruelly and barbarously, but give honor to that day which he that seeth all things have honored with holiness above other days.
Ain't that some stuff? They out there, the wicked Jews is out there with him. They're like, oh no, but don't fight them on the Sabbath day. Nigga, you already on the wrong side. That's how demented Israel is sometimes. You are with the wicked doing wicked things, and then when they do some wicked things that you like, yo, okay, that's a little too wicked. Now you want to switch up. Nah. Not on the Sabbath day, Nicanor. Jeez. Verse 3.
Then the most ungracious wretch demanded if there were a mighty one in heaven that had commanded the Sabbath day to be kept.
This audacious devil. What? Y'all got some God that's so powerful that I told you can't do nothing on this day? Read.
And when they said, there is.
They said, yes, our God Yahweh said we're not supposed to do anything on this day, and he is all powerful. Watch what he do.
There is in heaven a living Lord,
right,
and mighty, who commanded the seventh day to be kept.
Watch what this man say. Read.
Then said the other, and I also am mighty upon earth.
He said, I don't give a damn. He could be mighty in heaven. I'm mighty down here. Y'all won't smoke with me, or y'all gonna listen to me. I don't care what your God said. Where is he right now? Oh, he's in heaven. I'm that one down here. You gonna listen to me. Read on.
And I command to take arms and to do the king's business.
We doing the king's business, not the Lord's business. That's what it is. That's what it's gonna be. Come on.
Yet he attained not to have his wicked will done.
Right,
So,
read.
so Nicanor, in exceeding pride and haughtiness, determined to set up a public monument of his victory over Judas and them that were with him.
Right.
But Maccabeus had ever sure confidence that the Lord would help them.
So he already had it in his mind. They ain't finna fight us this Sabbath day. We about to destroy him. Judas said, despite the circumstances, Yahweh is king. Yahweh is Lord. Yahweh got our back. Read.
Wherefore he exhorted his people not to fear the coming of the heathen against them.
He encouraged his people. Don't be scared. The Lord got us. Read.
But to remember the help which is in former times they have received from heaven, and now to expect the victory and aid which should come unto them from the Almighty.
He said this ain't nothing new. The Lord always done came through for us in our past history and even recently. Read.
And so comforting them out of the law and the prophets.
He went into the scriptures. He said, let me hold on. Yeah, maybe y'all niggas forgot. Let me show you something. Let me show you how he allowed Elijah to bring fire down from heaven. Let me show you what he did with Moses in the time of the Exodus. Let me show you everything that he's done for us. Right. What y'all scared of? What y'all worried about? Right. He encouraged them through these scriptures, right? Read.
And withal, putting them in the mind of the battles that were won afore, he made them more cheerful.
And he boosted the morale. Come on.
And when he had stirred up their minds, he gave them their charge, shewing them therewithal the falsehood of the heathen and the breach of oath. Thus he armed every one of them, not so much with defense of shields and spears, as with comfortable and good words.
That's cold right there. He said he gave them weapons, but that ain't what he armed them with. He armed them with the confidence and the assurance that the Almighty would fight for them, which boosted their faith in the Lord. They was shaking in their boots, and he was able to give them the speech to build and develop their confidence again, to get them ready for war. Read.
And beside that, he told them a dream worthy to be believed, as if it had been as if it had been so indeed, which did not a little rejoice them.
And that drove them, man, that they was going crazy when they heard that dream. Read. Yep, read.
Verse 12. And this was his vision.
He said, this was the dream I had. Read.
That Onias, who had been high priest, a virtuous and a good man, reverend in conversation, gentle in condition, well spoken also, and exercised from a child in all points of virtue, holding up his hands prayed for the whole body of the Jews.
He said, I had a dream, the high priest Onias, who everybody know had a great an amazing reputation, who was locked in with the Lord since a baby. He prayed for all of us. Read.
Verse 13, this done, in like manner, there appeared a man with gray hairs and exceeding glorious, who was a wonderful and excellent majesty.
He said, and this individual appeared, this angel or this savior, this something, he appeared in my dream when Onias prayed and asked for guidance and asked for help, right? This man appeared. Read.
Then Onias answered, saying, this is a lover of the brethren.
This individual who he's talking about he loved Israel. He loved the nation. Read.
Who prayeth much for the people and for the holy city, to wit, Jeremias the prophet of God.
To wit, he said, this is Jeremiah, the weeping prophet. Jeremiah came down. Read.
Whereupon Jeremiah, holding forth his right hand, gave to Judas a sword of gold. And in giving it spake thus.
He said, in my dream, Jeremiah came down and gave me a golden sword to go to war with. Right? Read.
Take this holy sword, a gift from God.
He said, this came from the Lord. Come on.
With the which thou shalt wound the adversaries.
And the crazy part is Judas had done so much in battle, you couldn't help but believe the Lord was with him.
Right.
You could. He had won through prayer times before, and he had won through straight war. So he's telling his dream, and he got this confidence. They're like,
Let's go.
Y'all ready? So he break down his whole dream, and then he goes on to encourage them and say, we doing this for our people. Drop down to verse 21.
Verse 21, Maccabeus, seeing the coming of the multitude.
So he sees Nicanor and his strong force coming. Read.
And the divers preparations.
And all the different preparations. Read.
Of armor.
So all the different, they got the elephants, they got the rhinos, they got the horsemen, they got the shield and the bucklers, they got the marksmen with the bow and the arrows, they got the swordsmen. He said, I see all the diverse armors, I see all the diverse, right. I see all the diverse, what is it called, platoons. It's about to go, it's up right now, and he sees it, right? Read.
And the fierceness of the beast stretched out his hands toward heaven, and called upon on the Lord that worketh wonders, knowing that victory cometh not by arms, but even as it seemeth good to him, he giveth it to such as are worthy.
He said, I ain't worried about all of these people. I'm finna pray to the Lord, and the Lord got us. Read.
Therefore, in his prayers, he said after this manner,
Read.
O Lord, thou didst send thine angel in the time of Hezekiah,
read.
Hezekiah, king of Judea,
Read.
And didst slay in the host Sennacherib, 184,5,000.
He said, you sent your angel before and destroyed the Assyrians at a specific time. Read.
Wherefore now also, O Lord of heaven, send a good angel.
Send a good angel. Read.
Before us, for a fear and dread unto them.
He said, send an angel that's going to have them in their pants. Read.
And through the might of thine arm, let those be stricken with terror that come against thy holy people to blaspheme. And he ended thus.
He said, now, Lord, that same mercy that you gave to Hezekiah, bring that here and destroy these people who speak against you. Read.
Then Nicanor and they that were with him came forward with trumpets and songs.
They came lit. They said, it's about to go up. They out there, we ready. We ready. Now, mind you, they outnumbering Judas too. Something crazy. Crazy. And you hear the trumpets going. You hear them singing. You hear the war chants. And they're like, yo, they outnumbering us like 100-1. Judas, you sure about this? Judas said, stand still and just watch the Lord. Read on.
Then Nicanor and they that were with him came forward with trumpets and songs.
So they said, Nicanor was like, yeah, it's up, right? Read.
But Judas and his company encountered the enemies with invocation and prayer.
He said, they were sending up prayer and supplication to the Lord. Come on.
So that fighting with their hands and praying unto God with their hearts, they slew no less than 35,000 men.
Sheesh, read.
For through the appearance of God, they were greatly cheered.
The Lord showed himself through his angels, through his works. The Lord was there and helped them destroy these men. Read.
Now when the battle was done, returning again with joy, they knew that Nicanor lay dead in his harness.
They got Nicanor. Nicanor was out there at war with them, and they got him. Read.
Then they made a great shout and a noise, praising the Almighty in their own language. And Judas, who was ever the chief defender of the citizens, both in body and mind.
It said he was the chief defender in the body and in the mind, meaning physically he was the one that was out there putting in work, and in the mind, meaning he kept everyone's spirit and mind right when it came to war and when it came to stand on the right track. Judas was more than just a leader of war. He was the encourager. He was the one that kept people's spirit right. He was, in addition to his brother Simon, the counselor to keep everyone on track. That's what Judas was. That was the love and reverence they had for him. That was the work that he was putting in. Read.
And who continued his love toward his countrymen.
And he had the utmost love and was willing to sacrifice for his people. Come on.
All his life commanded to strike off Nicanor's head.
He said, get that nigga's head. Cut his head off. Read.
And his hand with his shoulders.
And cut off his whole arm. That's what it's saying. His hand with his shoulders. Cut his whole arm off. Read.
And bring them to Jerusalem.
As a trophy. You got think about this. People today will do a drive-by and drive off. These people used to do a walk down. And after they get rid of you, they'll cut your head off and say, yeah, we taking this with us. David did it with Goliath. He said, hey, look what I got, guys. The foreskins that David did after he killed the Philistines. Judas just took his head off, took off Nicanor's head and his arm, and they just, hey, toss that in the back. We're going to take it to Jerusalem with us. Leave the rest of them know. That was you that told me when you was out there at war and you was picking up, but that was normal. Like they looked to do that. They said, hey, cut his arm off and throw it in his bag. We're going to take it back with us. But whether I don't know, you might have taken joy in that. Not everybody would have though. But the thought process to be able to just take his look at his empty, soulless eyes and be like, yep. Take his arm and say, hey, Hezron. Hey, man, stop playing. That's dirty. It's nasty. Like, it was just like, this was a trophy to them. They took his head and they took his arm. Read.
Verse 31. So when he was there and had called them of his nation together and set the priests before the altar, he sent for them that were of the tower.
Right, read.
And shewed them vial Nicanor's head in the hand of the blasphemer, which with proud brags he had stretched out against the holy temple of the Almighty.
Right, so they cut off his hand, the same hand that he was pointing and stretching out, saying, I'm going to destroy all of this, I'm going to lay it down. They cut it off, and they cut his head off, and he took it back to the temple, outside of the temple, of course, to show them, we no longer have to worry. We got it. The walls of Jerusalem, the watchman on the towers was like, Judas, is that you? He said, yeah, look what we got. No. Hey, yo! Hey, y'all, hey, come, look at. Everybody on the wall like, no way! We got him. Read.
And when he had cut out the tongue of that ungodly Nicanor, he commanded that they should give it by pieces unto the fowls and hang up the reward of his madness before the temple.
It said, put it on a stick in front of the temple and leave it out there for the birds. The birds will peck at his head and his arms and his tongue. Read.
So every man praised toward the heaven. So the heaven, the glorious Lord, saying, blessed be he that hath kept his own place undefiled.
Right. Blessed are all of those that stood with righteousness during this trying time. Read.
He hanged also Nicanor's head upon the tower, an evident and manifest sign unto all the help of the Lord.
All the help of the Lord. He said, this is proof that Yahweh exists. This is proof that the Lord is with us. Read on.
And they ordained all with a common decree
They all came together and agreed. Read.
and no case to let that day pass without
Solemnity.
solemnity.
It said, we're going to make this a day of rejoicing with the Lord. They turned it into a holiday. Read.
But to celebrate the 13th day of the 12th month,
Right. Read.
which in the Syrian tongue is called Adar,
Uh-huh.
the day before Mordecai day.
The day before Mordecai's day. What is Mordecai's day? What is it? Purim. Mordecai's day. It says the day before Mordecai's day. Remember, Mordecai's day is 2 days. Purim is 2 days. So on the 13th day, make sure. The 12th day, excuse me. The 12th day to the 13th day is Nicanor. The 13th to the 14th is first day of Purim. The 14th to the 15th is Purim. Right? So 12th to 13th, Nicanor. 13th to 14th and 14th to 15th is Purim. Right? So this all happened around the time of Purim, as they were going into Purim, which had already been ordained about 300 years earlier. And they had made this new holiday because, hell, Purim was because we destroyed our enemies. Why not make another day because we destroyed our enemies? This is all giving glory to the Lord. It's a time to come together. And now some people will say, yes, that's added to the law. No, that's giving praise to the Father for what he's done. They said, let's make this a rule in Israel and a tradition in Israel that we worship the Lord for him helping us to destroy the enemy that tried to destroy us. Read.
Verse 37. Thus went it with Nicanor. And from that time forth, the Hebrews had the city in their power. And here will I make an end.
Here will I make an end. Right? So we don't need the rest of that. So, and you can read 1 Maccabees 7 to get the parallel story to it. 2 Maccabees 14 was a little more in-depth, a little more detailed. But you can also double back if you want to read 1 Maccabees 7. It pretty much expresses the same thing. A little less detailed, though, right? But this is why we celebrate the destruction of Nicanor. This is who Nicanor was. He was the governor of Israel. Originally, he didn't hate the Jews. Judas was such a righteous man and a good man. Nicanor said, I rock with him. Demetrius said, nigga, no, you don't. You going against me, and he's going against me. So that means you seditious too. Or might I remind you that I will end you. Nicanor said, never mind, I don't like him. And then began to make life difficult for us. Judas said, you know what? He's switching up. We made this covenant. We made this agreement that they broke, as we read in 1 Maccabees 7. And we probably going to end up going to war. Let's just go ahead and leave. And so they ended up going to war. They tried to get us on the Sabbath. We prayed to the Father. And through the exhortation and the faith that we had, we smashed on him and his entire army. He was killed. He was beheaded. We also took his right arm. His tongue was ripped out, and his head was put on a stake in front of Jerusalem as a trophy and a token to remember this. And we made that a holiday to commemorate when the Lord stood beside us as we destroyed Nicanor, who sought to destroy us. That is the history of the destruction of Nicanor. Lord's will, and it could have been a lot more. Right? Like I said, we could have doubled back to 1 Maccabees 7, but I want to give you guys a summary and a foundation of these feast days to just have the understanding of why we do it, when it is, a little bit of the backstory and the details, right? This is why you keep the destruction of Nicanor. If you didn't know before, if you wasn't keeping it before, it's another day to honor and worship the Lord and the things that he did for us. They made it a tradition. For you, keep the feast. One more feast next week, the Feast of Purim. And after that, we moving into another area of the Torah. Like I said, we gonna do a breakdown of everything in the foundation, aka the law. A lot of times we be so hell-bent on all of these other things, and this is how we get sidetracked and we miss the important stuff. So right now, my personal desire and endeavor is to get people to have an understanding of everything that's needed in the law. Yes, Nicanor is technically not in the law, but it's a feast day, and the feast days are commanded by the law. So I'm giving you an understanding and a breakdown of every single feast day that we have, from the Sabbath, new moon, and Passover, all the way down to dedication, to Tabernacles dedication, Nicanor, and Purim. We're going to go through every single feast day so you understand why you do these foundational things. Lord's will, it was edifying. Lord's will, you guys got some understanding. Most High willing, you guys continue to share these classes as we continue to try to feed you this daily bread. If you haven't yet, make sure that you subscribe to the channel so you can continue to get this daily bread and be notified when we go live. Every Tuesday, we got Bible Basics. Every Wednesday, we have World History. Every second and fourth Thursday, we have Stick to the Script. Every Friday, we have the Blue Strip, followed by Room 144, followed by Sound Doctrine. We got a whole lineup for you. Tomorrow, we also have a lineup for you. 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern, we have Bishop Yaziku's War for the Kingdom, and then we close out 4:30 p.m. Pacific, which is 7:30 p.m. Eastern, with Feed the Sheep with Bishop Tazaya Wine. Our goal is to get you guys to truly understand how to follow the Lord, how to keep the faith in Christ, how to also keep Torah, and how to also continue to develop and abound in the Spirit. That is the goal. If you have any questions, our email is reachus@truenation.org. Send them. If you have any inquiries, wanting boots down in your state, all praise to the Most High. We are an international organization. A number of states we have members, we have congregations, and in a number of countries as well. So if you have any desire to be a part of this family, if you desire to do the Lord's work and you want True Nation to be the vessel in which you're doing this work in, reach us at truenation.org. And if you want to contribute to the ministry, if it be on your heart to help us forward the ministry, you can contribute at truenation.org/donate. Israel, we appreciate y'all. We love y'all. Continue to tune in, continue to grow and abound in the Spirit, continue to adhere to sound doctrine. With that being said, it's been another segment of Sound Doctrine with myself and my beloved brother Hezron. Israel, we love y'all. Shalom.
If it wasn't for the Most High who was on my side, man, ain't no telling where I'd be.
Mr. Wilson with a number.
Can't nobody tell me nothing different. The Father's been good to me.
So good to me.
Yeah. Wave your hands if you feel me. I'm a witness. Yahweh's been good to me.
So good to me.
Every morning that I rise, I thank Yahweh that I'm living. Keep my enemies at bay and never leave without my fringes. 1611 with me cause I'm on a mission.